Hello, Dr. Ferguson, and anybody else from the music ed department or education department that might see this. This is my portion for like the notes, and you said that we could include in a number of different ways, so I figured I would just make like a quick summary video that'll be attached with the actual lesson, one of the lessons I taught for the week. Um, so I figured I'd start just by talking a little bit about the background. I was placed at Penn Trafford, the middle school, as well as several elementary schools because the cooperating teacher I was working with, Mr. Fox, he actually works, he's the middle school choral director, and then he's the band director of a number of the elementary schools in the area. So he travels a lot throughout the week. So we kind of always started in the morning at the middle school, and then we would travel to various elementaries to teach lessons and such. But my I observed and taught for my pre 2 hours from the week of May 12th to the Monday, May 12th, to the Friday, May 16th. So I'm going to start like my first day there. He has office hours around like 7:15ish. I got there at about 7 in the morning, and because I was early, I was able to sit in on like a teacher meeting with the principal. They were having Keystone testing during this week, so it was kind of cool to be able to sit in on that and listen to the principal talk about like how they would change the schedule. And he also was addressing, I guess, the teachers each year. There's a new evaluation system that's coming out for them. And he was talking about how to use, like, how the teachers would do their portion of it, as well as how he grades them and how they receive the feedback. So this is part if they have for Penn Trafford District, Mr. Fox was telling me if you have 4 consecutive uh, like satisfactory scores, that would be how you earn tenure. So, that was another cool thing to see about like how they do tenure and how they're graded for satisfactory teaching and stuff. So then we go to his first period, and his first 3 periods are kind of split up interestingly. He has a full chorus, but he splits the groups up by sixth, seventh, and eighth graders. Um, Now, he meets with the sixth graders first, but each of the first 3 periods is kind of like a rotating study hall because if they take chorus, they used to have the problem that all those kids lost study halls, and he was talking to me about how a lot of these kids are, usually in the gifted programs and are high achievers, that they really didn't want to take it because you're losing time to actually get some work. Well, not the only time to get work done, but they were losing some. So they kind of created like it was a rotating study hall. So some days it would be like a full sixth grade, a full seventh grade, and a full eighth grade chorus meet. And then other days it would be supplementary help for theory, or if they were working on a piece that maybe some kids were struggling on, or different vocal techniques. So he kind of like switched up what they were doing every day, which I thought was kind of neat and a creative way to kind of deal with that sort of issue. So the first day at the middle school, I didn't teach as much. I wanted to observe what he did with his chorus, and they just finished a concert. They were just coming off of their end of the year concert, so I wanted to see kind of what he was doing with them because I wasn't totally sure, and he wasn't totally sure how he was going to approach it either. Because the only thing he knew is he wanted to keep them engaged. He didn't want to just put a movie on. So he kind of counteracted that by they were singing some of the pieces they liked. He did some theory and different stuff with the different groups for the first 3 periods. Now his fourth period is a sixth grade general music. For this class, he had assigned a project like the beginning of the semester. It was like on their like favorite band or something to do with music, and they would look up the history of it and present it in Prezi. So that was actually pretty neat to see that kind of like it was a pretty creative assignment overall. I thought it was kind of a cool concept. How he orchestrated it and got them, and he had the class ask three what he called key questions, where they would ask questions that would actually be vital to the presentation and not just random meaningless question. So um, and then at the end of class, he gave a new assignment. I thought this assignment was really cool. That he took like 4 or 5 commercials offline. Then in GarageBand, he was going to have them take the video and the audio, erase the audio, and then put in their own music using some of the loops that are already like present on GarageBand and or write their own. So I thought that was a pretty neat, like higher cognitive kind of assignment, interesting idea. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then they turned it in on Edmodo. So really, I just thought it was kind of a pretty neat assignment. And they were in the music tech lab working on it for a couple days. So then his fifth period, and a lot of middle schools do this now, where it's like 5A, 5A, 5B, 5C, and then they split up. So he gets kind of a prep, kind of a lunch, and then we traveled. And then we traveled to the elementary school where we taught lessons. Now his lessons, um, the first day we were at McCullough. These were a little tough because for I would imagine for him, and he was telling me how hard it is because he gets 1 half hour lesson each day with that group or with a different group. So like he sees each kid from that like 1 half hour a week, and um, the lessons are split up by availability. So like he'll have a kid come in that plays flute or percussion and sax, and he has to teach all of them simultaneously within a half hour. To me, this was interesting to see just because, this is a real life situation that I'm sure happens all the time, and I don't think is thought of enough, when we're learning all of this, how he goes about time management with these kids. Now, he was happy that I was there because I was able to take like maybe some of the percussion kids or maybe a flute or two or, something and be able to give them individual attention. But most of the time, it's just him working with like 6 kids that play instruments that are almost unrelated. So that day, I taught a group of trumpets, a group of saxophones, um, and a percussion student. So it was great for me too, because the only experience I had with like band instruments and woodwind and brass really was from methods classes. I hadn't really used them in quite a while. So, I was able to take the week and study up and then be able to actually give good feedback and help them with tone as well as just, reading the notes and playing the correct rhythms. Now, the second day worked a lot like the first, with the exception of the fourth period general music that he has at the middle school. He had me teach a lesson about cello because they don't have a string program there. So, it was a good chance for me to like actually prepare a lesson. It wasn't as interactive or anything as I would have liked, and I wish I could have got that on video. But it wasn't my overly most creative lesson, but it did go off very well in terms of classroom management. Their interests, they were very interested. Um, I was able to actually play for them a piece I'd started working on like a couple days ago, so at least they were able to hear it. I was able to go over the history as well as some players to know and stuff like that. He loved the lesson. He thought it was very, they were very interested, and he was glad to give them that experience. And he thought my classroom management, honestly, they were such good kids. I don't even think any of them talked at all. They asked some good questions, and yeah, so that went very well. And then he showed a Piano Guys video at the end, just to, I think, kind of tie everything in. And he talked about some of the musical aspects of it because it incorporated Vivaldi's Winter as well as the Frozen theme, like big song from Frozen. So that was kind of neat. He was talking about the musicality of each and how they're playing them and stuff like that. So really cool. Elementary lessons that day worked the same. and that we had mixed groups, so I was kind of taking some and he was taking some, but they went very well, and he was very pleased on how I was able to help the kids that I was working with. Now, the next day, this was a really great refresher for me. We had instrument tryouts for the elementaries. So the first day was at the McCullough Elementary, and we went there, set up the instruments with Jocelyn Baugh, a representative for them. And all the whole day, he did paperwork a good majority of the day because he was helping the parents sign everything up and stuff. So I was really out there just getting kids, see if they could make a sound on the instrument and what felt better to them. I was able to work with a kid who was on the autism spectrum pretty severely, and that was a really cool experience. He was able to play like every instrument with a really nice tone and everything, and he was really excited. So it was one of those aha moments as a teacher that you're like, oh, a reminder of why you picked, to do something like this. So that was an amazing experience for me. So I did that all day. We did that all day. That was from first to eighth period. So that was really cool, getting to work with that many kids and kind of getting them the setup of the instruments and how they make the tones. So it was great. Um, that evening, too, I'm sorry, the evening prior to that, it was Tuesday evening. I came and helped him set up he was kind of like, he did like a thing for the parents, like an information thing. So he had all the representatives of all the renting music companies there. They were there. He had all the band people come, all the teachers rather, and had some students play examples from each instrument, as well as have all the teachers speak about what they do and different things like that. So that was really cool to see him actually doing real recruiting and to help him in that aspect. So that was really fun. So, and it really, I think, helped him the next couple days because we did the instrument tryouts for him were Wednesday and Friday, and then the other elementary schools were um, Tuesday, Thursday. So it was a really great opportunity kind of to see recruitment in action and see the different things that he's trying to do. So, and going back to Thursday, regular day again. The lesson that is on here is from that Thursday. I was working with a group of clarinetists. In hindsight, in watching it, there's things I know that I could have done better. Addressing the intonation issue, I was a bit nervous on, is the kid's embouchure, is it how the instrument's set up, is it, they have too much reed or too much mouthpiece or anything like that. So I probably could have been a little bit more proactive and probably could have actually modeled, which would have been really great. I don't think it was a total bust or anything. I mean, they were talented and they were able to keep up, and I was able to go over a couple things with them and maybe try to make them aware of the intonation issue. Afterwards, me and Mr. Fox were actually able to address the particular situation. It was both an instrument setup issue and she wasn't creating the right embouchure with like her cheeks. She was kind of overblowing a little bit, as well as kind of like biting down too much and tightening in here. So all these things ended up leading to her intonation issue. Um, but then Friday, um, we had the all-day lesson tryouts again. Again, wonderful experience. Great way to kind of wrap the week up is getting in there and really being helpful with percussion, all the woodwind and brass, all of that sort of thing. So I really love that aspect.